And now the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration is making a case for an upward adjustment of price for passport applications. The ministry argues that the cost of travel documents has been heavily subsidized. Hence, the inability of government and the passport office to invest in other areas of service delivery. Currently, a citizen pays an average of some $8 for an ordinary passport, as compared to the second least paying country in the West Africa sub-region, which is Liberia, paying an average cost of $40. Deputy Foreign Affairs Minister Amprichum Sapon says engagement will soon begin in Parliament to push for price adjustments, and has also been touching on some of the reforms targeted at improving service delivery.
Until we get, as you mentioned, the full complement of the equipment, the computers and the giant printers, we will continue to have problems. No two ways. Until we are ready to invest, we will continue to have problems. Until we are ready to pay the realistic fees for passports, we will have problems. Otherwise, the little resources that we get, we will continue subsidizing the passport. $8. Liberia is doing biometric for $40. And Togo, yes. $40. Supplied by the same supplier who supplies us with the passports. Liberia charges $40. We charge $8. Meaning we are having to subsidize every passport. So the money to buy the printers is being used to subsidize the passport for Kumenu. Until Kwakumenu is prepared to pay the realistic passport fees, we will continue to have these problems. And also, we are thinking of upgrading our passport from the biometric to the chip embedded. So the chip embedded is going to cost more. And if we continue sitting at the $8, we will continue to have the problems that we are having at the passport office. No magic can be done by the officers over there. So we have to brace ourselves. Reduction in overcrowding at the RICH headquarters. In order to reduce overcrowding at the head office, access to the public has been drastically limited. Only passport applicants who have genuine reasons to be at the passport head office are allowed access to the office. Installation of automated access controls. Additionally, automated access controls have been installed at entrances to all offices. All offices have been issued with access cards, without which one cannot enter the building. The RICH head office, as a security zone, is only available to VIPs and emergency cases, that is, medical, educational, or official purposes. To further improve security at the passport offices, CCTV cameras have been installed in the offices at the head office. This is to monitor the activities of officers and to ensure that officers are actively working to achieve set targets. Plans are also underway to extend installation of CCTVs in the other passport application centers. All members of staff in all the passport application centers, including the headquarters, have been issued with name tags for purpose of easy identification. Passport application centers. The ministry has made major strides in passport administration. It has maintained 14 printing hubs in our missions abroad, and also secure pieces of land for the construction of passport application centers in Accra, Kumasi, and Tamale. The ministry currently operates 13 passport application centers in Ghana, namely Accra Park, Accra Premium Park, Tema Park, Ho Park, Cape Coast Park, Takoradi Park, Ofurudia Park, Kumasi Premium Park, Sunyane Park, Tamale Park, Tamale Premium Park, and Wa Park. The ministry has plans to extend its passport service to the remaining regions of the country with our parks.
So there you heard it from the minister, but are Ghanaians willing to pay more? Well, I'll be bringing in shortly Rasmus Barak, who is a former member of parliament for Kumbungu, who's also joining the conversation this afternoon. Thank you so much, sir, for spending some time with us here on the Pulse. But I want you to first listen to some Ghanaians and their thoughts on this whole proposition to have, an upward adjustment of, the service fees for passport application. Let's listen.
If the government has thought of increasing passport application, I have no much problem about that. Provided they are going to provide the necessary machines, logistics that will process the application so that we don't have a lot of backlog. That people go through the backlog and pay a huge sum of money to get the passport.
Already there is hardship in the system, and since there is hardship, things need to be reduced for the citizens to feel better. But looking at it now, what basis are they standing on to increase it? They said there is short of materials. The government is spending money on certain things that shouldn't have been done, to my opinion, which they need to rather invest those monies into the materials, procurement of those materials. But now he is coming to add more suffering to the suffering we are in now. So I absolutely don't agree with the government.
The government increasing prices, I don't think I have a problem with that, because me standing here, if I want to travel, I don't care. Wherever I'll get the money and travel, I'll go, because fine, maybe Ghana is not helping me, or wherever I'm going, that is where I'm going to make something best out of my life, you understand? So fine, food prices are up, a lot of things are up. So when in the passport office or wherever, when they want to skyrocket prices, I don't care.
I'm okay with it, because if you really want to travel and you need a passport, they're just definitely going to find a way out to make sure you get it. So I think it's cool with me.
If they increase it, then it will be like it wouldn't affect us in the terms of like collection. Me like this, I've applied for like since January, but still I don't know. I've gone for verification and other stuff, but still I haven't heard any news from them. If they will increase, then it will be like it will affect us positively to like it will be okay.
Okay, it's a good time to hear from Rasmus Barak, who's joining the conversation now. Very interesting thoughts there, knowing that even some Ghanaians say they are determined to leave this country. Initially, of course, and this is not the aim of government, but some experts feel that this would also check the high level of migration, worker migration that we're experiencing in the country. But people are simply determined to go in for the passports. First of all, what's your thoughts on this high demand for this travel document?
Well, I mean, there are serious challenges in the country, for which reason, people are desperate, to leave the shores of the country because they feel a great sense of hopelessness. We have rising cost of living, rising youth employment, or unemployment in the country. And this accounts for, people's desperation to leave the country. But if you have a situation like that, obviously there should be creative ways of, solving some of these challenges that have been brought on, as a result of government's own failings. First of all, being a citizen of the country should come with some set of benefits. I mean, I heard the deputy minister argue that Liberia pays more. And indeed, I've looked at the numbers for not just West Africa, but for East Africa. If you look at Kenya, for instance, they are paying about $40 for passport, whereas we are paying about $10 for a passport. But as I said, there should be benefits that come with being a citizen of a country. We are not Liberia. Ghana has more resources, than Liberia. And so you can't compare yourself, with all of your resources to a country that does not have half of the resources that you have.
I see, but when you look at, but when you, I'm sorry for cutting through, but when you look at the kind of service delivery we're getting, possibly the challenge should be coming from the highly subsidized cost, isn't it?
I would come to the service delivery. I mean, I know officers of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs are working tirelessly, especially those in the passport office, under strenuous circumstances. I know for a fact that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is one of the underfunded, ministries. If you look at the budgets and the sort of things that they do compared with other ministries around the world, but at a time when the country is bankrupt, we need to be very, very creative. There are a lot of government houses across the country, district assemblies. I don't see why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs should be seeking resources to build newer passport centers when they could leverage on available facilities in places like the regional administrations, the district offices, and the view would be to reducing the pressure and stress on Accra. This is not rocket science. If you go to some of the most advanced countries, you can be in your county, or in your borough and apply for a passport, and you don't have to go to a regional center to get a passport. So there are district offices up and down the country. And the time has come for us to be creative under these circumstances that we are facing.
Okay, let's look at the possibility of what an average Ghanaian can take at this time, because the reality is, and I'm glad you're also acceding to that we have a highly subsidized cost as compared to East Africa and even here in the West Africa SAMP region. So how much can an average Ghanaian take now in terms of a possible upward adjustment? Because the conversations will start soon in Parliament.
Well, I mean, look, we are approaching Christmas, and soon after Christmas, kids will be back in school. Parents will be hard pressed to come up with resources to pay school fees and meet with the daily challenges that they are faced with. So it is not a good time to be increasing prices of anything in the country. That is the first point, especially judging by the fact that embassies are also increasing their visa fees, judging by the fact that data is becoming more and more expensive. To apply for a Ghanaian passport, you would have to initiate your application online. Data is expensive. So all of this adds up to the pressure on the ordinary Ghanaian, and I think it will be a bit insensitive, to increase prices of passports at this particular moment.
Just go ahead. Yes.
One more point.
Yeah.
Now, there are 13 passport centers in the country. Averagely, they do about 300 passports per day, right? Now, this brings us to the talk about a 24-hour economy. I mean, if people are in waiting line, because the challenge with acquiring passport is not just the application, but getting a date, to go and do your biometric. And people are not getting dates because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is running a quota system. They are doing 300 passports per day at point A. So once they reach 300 passports per day, they don't do, anything beyond that. I mean, you could run an 8-hour shift, where some people could work in the evening, just so that you reduce, the pressure on the passport office. But all of this pressure from ordinary Ghanaians to acquire passports and travel has come about as a result of increasing cost of living in the country, and that's a reality.
The concerns about the high levels of migration we're seeing, especially health worker migration in the last few days, the feeling is this could also be a tool to check that. We're not saying that's the intention of the ministry, but it might be an opportune time to increase the cost, lower the demand, and we have some more brains working in this country. Is that far-fetched?
They haven't said that, and if that is the reason...
they won't say that. They would never say that. No one would ever say that.
Put that out in the public. But I would expect that we incentivize, people who are working in the country, because everyone is working under extreme conditions, except for people in certain categories. I'll give you a typical example about Malawi. The Malawian president has banned himself, his cabinet, government ministers, district assembly, chief executive officers from traveling out of the country for the next 3 months. You know how much savings in millions of dollars that would, accrue to government? A lot of savings. So if we don't have resources, to acquire more material, to print booklets for applicants, we need to look at some of the extravagance, that we have become so accustomed to as a country, and I am strongly of the view that they are not being creative enough, because I don't see why there should be regional offices, government offices, district offices, and yet government would be looking for newer funds to build newer passport offices, which would come at greater cost to the ordinary Ghanaian.
Yeah, and I want us to wrap up on the point about middlemen, Goro boys as they are referred to. They never seem to go away. Ingenuity or not, innovation or not, these guys are still in the system. Is it time to mainstream them, or perhaps just try and frame another activity around what they do and streamline it?
We have gone biometric. We've gone digital. Since I think 2014 or so. Yet still, these Goro boys or middlemen are not going away. They are not going away because of the challenges that ordinary applicants are facing. It will surprise you to know that when one tries to apply for a passport, sometimes they don't get a date until about 3 months ahead. Okay, so the Ministry of Foreign Affairs would have to look at creative ways of reducing the waiting time. The big elephant in the room is the waiting time, where people put in an application and they get a date for their biometric 3 months, 4 months ahead. These are people who may have, pressing needs to travel, either for study, either for business or some other, important reasons. And waiting for 3 months, obviously, would be something difficult for a lot of them to stomach. So people would look at creative, quicker ways of having access to their passports as and when they require it. And that is why I did mention earlier that we've got to be creative. Creativity means decentralizing, getting it down at the district level, look at some of the edifices up and down the country. Take my district, for instance, Kumbungu, beautiful district assembly edifice, built in 2015, right? With enormous office space. I don't see why the Ministry of Foreign Affairs cannot leverage on the available office space in Kumbungu or in Pando or elsewhere in the country, and have more machines in these places to provide service to Ghanaians who need them. Until that is actually done, we would still continue to grapple with this issue of Goro boys and middlemen.
I see. Ras, it's been a pleasure talking to you on this matter. All right.